Hey there, Mark from Pixel Motion. This is my fourth and final part of my podcast with Greg from Digital Pixel Cafe, where we talk about the PS4 Neo or PS4K or whatever the hell you want to call it. If you haven't yet, though, please check out parts 1 through 3. We've talked quite a bit about various things that are in the rumors and various things that we think could happen or, anything like that. So, let's get into it.
Let's see. I made a list of things I dislike too. Let's see what we got. Okay, well, I already stated that I just bought the PS4. Now it's basically obsolete. And my fear is, and I kind of thought this before, but I watched a video from ReviewTechUSA, and he was talking about this subject, and he said the same thing. So I'm gonna mention it again. I think Sony is gonna get lax as time goes on with their requirements for like games that are being run on the original PS4.
Yeah, because I kind of agree. I think they're going to phase that out over time.
Yep, and I think that what's going to happen is eventually the Neo is going to be the old model, and then they got something else.
Come out with a new one, and yep.
And that kind of worries me too, to an extent. Not like I'm not going to upgrade after like 5 years anyway, but we'll see, I guess. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. The price is steep for those who already bought the PS4. That's another concern I had, because sure, it only upgrades the graphics and frame rate, but that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want out of a next-gen system, is better graphics and frame rate. And now I have to fork up another $400 to get that? I'm sorry.
Well, you could always sell the PS4 you have.
Yeah, I don't really bother with that crap. When I buy my first unit, I've
stuck on a shelf.
I'll probably here's my thinking, is that $400, that's going to go to Microsoft or Nintendo. So Sony kind of lost me.
That's right, you don't have an Xbox One yet.
Nope. Okay, like I already pointed out, games are likely to be inferior on the base unit, and that's more like over time, in 3 to 4, maybe 5 years. Those games probably aren't going to hit their frame rate marks that Sony is going to enforce early on the old system. Stuff like that, and the textures are probably just going to get worse, just because companies are going to be cutting corners as they see fit. And I think when we end up with an install base of like 60 million Neo users and like 40 on the base unit, they're going to start saying, well, let's not worry too much about these lower res textures for the base users. Let's just focus on the higher res textures for the Neo users. And that sucks. It's kind of lame. And then there's also the issue of budgets and development time. There's already been some developers on Twitter kind of raging about it, saying that they're not really big fans of having these stiff requirements of having to make 2 versions of their game for both versions of that system, because now they have to spend extra development time making stuff better for one, and then they have to also spend more Q&A time to make sure that it works right on both of them. And I can see that.
It's basically Sony's opening a big can of worms.
Yeah, they are. And you know what? Like, I was thinking about it, our last conversation, because you pretty much nailed it. If this turns out to be true, you pretty much nailed it when we last talked about this. And I thought about it some more, though, and it's like, it works fine for iPhone and Android phones and stuff, because those, for one, the hardware, most people aren't paying like the full $600, $700, $800 out of pocket every year to upgrade. They're usually like renewing their contract for another year or two every single time and getting the whatever the hell rate that is. Can't even think right now. But they're basically paying a lower discounted price because they signed another contract. And then on top of that, developers are also, like, the games aren't as advanced. Like I pointed out with Rayman, that's a 2D game. Like, upping the res on that game doesn't require them to rework any textures or anything.
That's probably Vector anyways.
Yeah,
So,
it is. I mean, it
yeah.
uses the UbiArt framework that's in Rayman Legends and Rayman Origins, so it's like it scales just fine with anything. So with mobile games, you know, they aren't as demanding, is what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
having multiple versions of those games isn't as big of a deal. It's not as hard to do. It doesn't take as long to do the textures for it, even if it is 3D stuff. And, you know, it's just less. Whereas a console game, take like Assassin's Creed, for example. That's a big budget franchise.
Yeah.
They spent millions upon millions developing those versions. And while they do make the PC version, I could see, like, take like Naughty Dog. You know, they're an exclusive developer. And yeah, Sony's going to be paying for it anyways, but let's say they weren't. But a company was making a game exclusively on PS4. Like, they'd have to pay a lot more money to make two versions of the game for that platform. Yeah, I don't know. I think Sony might end up losing some developer support if this proves to be, like, problematic. And
I don't think they're going to lose any support.
It depends. To me, I think it's the next couple months are going to decide a lot because they're on fire right now. They're easily in the first place spot, and it's going to take a lot for anybody else to catch up to them. But if you segment the market in this way, and it's not like the worst case scenario, but it still is segmented a little bit. You're going to have people like me who aren't too happy because they just bought a PS4. And you know people just bought a PS4 with their tax money this year. And now it's like, surprise! You just spent $300 for an old-ass system that's outdated. But, I don't know. I think that, say E3 comes around, Microsoft, they've been kind of, I guess, wishy-washy with the whole upgrade thing, because they were at first saying how they would like to see incremental upgrades for the Xbox One, but then Phil Spencer came out and said, no, we're not doing anything with the Xbox One. It's a good platform as it is, blah, blah, blah. So they haven't really committed one way or the other. And I think that, I think if E3 comes and they're like, hey, we have an Xbox One Slim version now, and it's going to be $250, and it comes with a game. And then Sony has the Neo. I think Xbox One could take and gain some serious ground with that.
That depends, in my opinion, on the NX.
Yeah, that's another factor. That's going to be a different thing. I think, like Microsoft with the Xbox One, everybody knows what to expect right now. The system's been out for a while. People have their expectations for what it is and what it isn't. If they go the same route as Sony and try to do a 4K version, I think that they're going to lose. They're going to lose to Sony, just like they are now. But I think if they stick with the 1080p machine and make the price super appealing, because once you hit that 250 or lower mark, that's mass market pricing. It's not like a premium item at that point. It's like everybody can have it now.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's one of the things that sold the Wii like crazy. Is that it was like $250 out of the gate. So it was way cheaper than the other two. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of a mess. I think Sony is possibly getting in over their head. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, I'm not really thinking too much on it. I'm going to wait till E3.
Yep.
Mainly because there's got to be some strategies or something that, has not leaked out for rumors. Hardware's one, but there could be something. They might even have a trade-in program. I mean, Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And if they did have a trade-in program, would you do it?
I don't know, honestly. Like, I get really attached when I buy a console. Like, when I spend my hard-earned money on an expensive thing like that, I plan on having it with me for a long time.
Yeah.
And those trade-in programs, it's like, I don't know, it just feeds. It's like trading in games to me. Even if it is Sony sanctioned and everything, it feels like going to GameStop with a bunch of games and getting shit back for it.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I don't do that anymore.
And the way I look at it too is, I just bought my PS4. If they were going to do a trade-in program to allow me to upgrade to Neo for a discounted price, I would expect $300 back to go towards the Neo, and then to pay the extra $100 out of my pocket.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
But I can't see them ever doing that. That's way too much money to give back to the consumer for just for an upgrade. You know, I can't see it.
I mean, I get what you're saying as far as you want to buy it and have it for quite a while, and that just kind of reminds me of the 360. You know, I bought a launch system, and I
That's
had
problematic.
that for, well, actually, that's the thing is mine wasn't. Mine died when Gears of War 3 came out.
Which is that's an epic run for a launch.
Very epic. And then what I did is went to Kmart, of all places, and bought the, I think it was $200 at the time, arcade unit that did not come with a hard drive.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm currently using now whenever I go on there, which is rare these days.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's just kind of what I was thinking is that thing lasted for a decade, you know?
Yeah. Well, my closing thoughts would be, I think it's awesome they're doing this, and I would like to have one. But given the fact that I'm not poor, but I'm not like rich, you know? Like, I can't just throw around $400.
No, and especially when you have a kiddo on the way.
Yeah, exactly. That, and I'll have other stuff I want to buy. That, you know, some of it's video game related, some of it's not.
Hey, thanks for checking out my podcast with Greg from Digital Pixel Cafe. This is the end of our small series for the PS4 Neo. We're going to try to do a podcast at least once per week, so please be on the lookout for those. And if you don't mind, please like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And until next time, happy gaming.